Welcome, everybody, to the Cast from the Coast. My name is Adam Miles, and I am joined, as always, by Josh Lambert, Aaron Peerless, Tim Johnson. Tim, what are we talking about tonight?
We are going to talk about a movie that was made last year but came out this year, and I don't know why, but it's on Shudder. It's pretty good. It's the Mortuary Collection.
Stay tuned. Give us the synopsis, Tim.
I will.
Okay.
An eccentric mortician recounts several macabre and phantasmagorical tales that he's encountered during his distinguished career.
Okay, I'm just going to point out, Tim, I'm so fucking proud of you.
I'm
Phantasmagorical, and you got it right the first fucking time.
Phantasmagorical.
Yeah, go Tim.
Motherfucker.
You still want to preach to us, Adam? How it definitely wasn't influenced by Phantasm? You still want to die on that rock?
I didn't say it wasn't influenced by Phantasm, like the character. I don't think the movie was.
Aaron, what do you think? I think
the
that
movie
was pretty much
not
what he was
influenced by
saying.
Phantasm.
Yeah.
The character might have been.
I think it was pretty clear what he was telling us.
Yeah, I think they kind of added the phantasmagorical, whatever it is, on
Phantasmagorical.
purpose.
You know,
I'm
that
impressed.
word's been,
Correctly.
you know that word's been around since before Phantasm, right? Just
What?
saying.
What?
That's how Josh wins an argument. What?
What?
All right, moving on. Let's talk about this story here. So we actually have multiple stories in this. We actually have four main stories plus the kind of the wraparound is really what it would be. I
Reach
guess.
around story.
The reach around story.
Around.
All right. I say let's talk a little bit about the segments as they are individually first, and then we can kind of
In the order that they were seen in the film.
in the order that they were seen in the film. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
What are the
Can I just get this out of the way first?
Go ahead.
It's really good to watch a fucking movie that felt very old school. Like the whole kind of like, anthology style, Tales from the Crypt type of vibe. Like it had that going for it going in. I was very excited. But anyways, let's talk about the stories. Adam?
Just to add to that, Tim, that wasn't
Adam?
shit. All right. Okay, so they consider the first technical story to be the introduction of Clancy Brown's character, the mortician, as it would be, or the man who runs the mortuary itself too.
What was his name? Montgomery Dark.
Montgomery Dark. See, cool.
Montgomery Burns.
It's a perfect name. So we get introduced to him, and he's got a very dark sense of humor to the situation without being humorous. I love the opening scenes with the credits, and you got the little boy on the cart or on the bike, and he's driving through the town, and it feels very much so like Castle Rock. Dairy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Yes!
It felt so fucking goosebumps.
Oh,
It felt so kiddie.
so what?
That opening scene.
It was great. He drives by like the lobster trap, and it's like some sort of like a Cthulhu little fucking elder god creature in there and shit.
Adam, I am for once going to agree with you. I absolutely got Derry Maine vibes from that opening.
100%. It more than what some who push to do that, ever
Yeah.
obtained. This movie actually did feel that way.
Did they actually specifically say what town it was in, or was it just any town you would say?
Raven's Edge.
So
Raven's End. Raven's End is what it was. So yeah, so you come up to the cool ass sign, Raven's End, and it's kind of like you see the cliff sides over it and everything. It's really awesome. So the little boy, he's like the paper boy. He comes up to the end of the laneway and he sees the papers are still there. So he walks up and it's the mortuary and the home, and he knocks on the door. Nothing. He goes to look in and he goes to take a picture. And he sees Clancy Brown staring back at him through the mail slot, and it freaks him out. And he goes to run, and his camera's stuck and shit. And it's hilarious because it kind of, at that point, like, Clancy Brown's just the old guy, just kind of walks out. You forgot your camera, and it's just introduction, right? I found Clancy Brown has always been a really good character actor. I love him ever since like the old Carnival days and shit like that. So seeing this kind of a character was kind of really, really cool for me. Seeing him come back to something like this. He goes offbeat with his speech at a child's funeral, which is yet another thing which kind of endears to the character as to, there's something really odd and off about this. He talks about, being like, immortal, basically. And not the immortal soul, but like how we're all immortal and shit, and it's kind of weird. But from there, what I thought was really cool about this is that, and we were kind of talking about it a little bit before we kicked off, was that characters, there's so much cross-pollination of the characters in this. So like when you're actually looking at like the people, because I watched this for like the second time when I watched this for the review, when you're looking at the people that are actually in the seats for the funeral for the child, you see the obvious characters who are there, and if you recognize them or you pay attention, they show up in all the stories. They pretty much show up in like every story.
Cool.
It's kind of interesting. So that's the first part that we get that, and we get introduced to a young lady, Sam, who basically wants to work there. As she so says, there's a for hire sign out front, and she's looking to join. And he begins to tell the tales of basically reasons why people end up there, as it is.
everybody's got a story, he says.
Stories of their death.
Oh,
Yes. And for all those paying attention right now, we can't help but bring up the fact that Clancy Brown very much so is reminiscent of Angus Scrimm from the
Absolutely.
Phantasm
That was
movies.
the first thing I think I messaged you when I watched it was, oh my god, this guy could play a rebooted like Tall Man.
100%.
But we don't want that.
We totally do, actually. I'm pretty sure I do at this point.
Oh.
I mean, we don't have
You
Angus
guys
Scrimm
want
anymore. If they're
more
going to do a Phantasm
Tim.
reboot, you do it.
Tim, we thought we were safe when Mr. Scrim passed away.
I know.
We're not safe.
But what if they reboot it and actually make it make sense?
Yeah, what if they reboot it and then make 7 more sequels, Tim?
And they don't
What
make
if
sense.
that?
And it's even worse. It takes 3 movies to explain the original first.
Okay, you motherfuckers.
All right. So the first story itself that we get introduced to beyond that is, and the one thing is that I thought that was really cool about this is that they don't give the titles or the sequences titles and segments like title cards. Like where you got Creep Show, you get, like Something to Tide You Over, or whatever have you, right? Or, Lonely Death of Jordy Verrill. In this one, it's just, here's the story, and it, like, cuts right in.
Is that how it went? Here's the story.
Just about.
That's an exact quote.
Pretty sure it's the exact quote. So, in the first story, we have a young woman who's basically going to the bathroom at a party. Starts off a little party area, and she goes into the bathroom, and you come to find out that she's a klepto. So she's pulling up the garbage can and she's looking through people's wallets and discarding what she doesn't want. And she gets a little too curious when she hears a noise coming from the bathroom medicine cabinet. and it's, I guess it's one of those stories, because the one thing I really like is that as well, at the end of the story, they always try to come up with some sort of a lesson to be learned, a moral to the story, and there's not necessarily a moral, even though he kind of blatantly gives something randomly. So the first one, so she's a klepto, she's going through, and when she opens up the actual door, it's just black, and then something tentacle monster comes. What is Tim doing?
A tentacle
From the
monster.
bird.
That's his
I
tentacle
was
monster
having a
impression.
technical difficulty, and the technical difficulty gave me the finger.
Oh,
So I gave the
One of
finger
those
back
technical
to the
difficulties.
technical difficulty.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he keeps saying she's a klepto, but she's just a hustler. Like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
That's why she's like rooting through the medicine cabinet and shit.
Yeah, she's just she's like
She's like a spy.
Catwoman.
She's
Yeah.
not really a
Professional thief.
bra size D. She's like a bra size A or something, right? All everybody's goods are tucked into her bra, so she's probably got tires and shit in there.
I was wondering where you were going with this. I was like, okay.
it works for her
Well, this is a
apparently.
wad of money. She's stuffing the money
yeah.
and watches and
Yeah,
She's a hustler.
into her brassiere.
hustler.
Brazier.
Yeah. So it's interesting though, because this is like the shortest of them, by any means. This is the shortest story, and I think it was mainly meant to just kind of tell a quick tale to set the tone for what the movie would be. You know what I mean, about the deaths and how they come about. But I thought it was an effective one, because I really liked the look of the tentacles that were coming out and grabbing onto her and pulling her in. And when they actually get her to the medicine cabinet, I'm like, oh, how are they going to get her through there? And it like pulls her in half, which was
Crunch.
very reminiscent of another horror movie. I just thought of this there before we were filming.
Men in Black.
No. I'll think of it. There's another really great scene in a horror movie where somebody was pulled into a thing like that, and they were pulled in. It was really cool. Yeah. Oh, the raft, when the guy was like pulled down, like from Creepshow 2, where the guy was like pulled and like his leg was folded up under him, and he was like pulled right down and stuff like this. He was folded right up and shit. It was pretty cool. So it kind of reminded me of that, right? So yeah, so she doesn't survive that. Hence the stories, as it were. Anything that you guys want to talk about that segment?
I like that it just reminded me of like just a weird little like Stephen King short story. Like it was just weird. It was like taking something, the setup, she comes in, it's revealed that she's a thief, she's at the party, she's stealing all the stuff, and then, fucking Cthulhu pulls her through the little medicine cabinet, right? Like it was a weird little story. I liked it. Again, to me it harkened back to like Tales from the Crypt. Like it was just that weird kind of little story.
Yeah,
I liked it, and it was a scene, a story, and a scene that was totally supported by one actor doing her thing and carrying that whole thing. Yeah, no, I liked it.
The blood dripping was really good. It was very effective. Looked like real blood dripping. Yeah, it was effective. Yeah, and the folding of a body backwards is definitely, that's it.
It was crazy.
But I feel that effect was like obviously you had like practical, and it was probably cleaned up by CG.
Lots
of
CG. Yeah.
What sold that was her acting and the sound effects.
The sound effects, yeah. When you get folded backwards, like you got to think that just every time I see that in a movie or something, it just hurts. It's just like, oh, we're not supposed to bend that way.
Yeah. The Foley artistry really kind of makes you go, ugh, as
How did they get that sucker in that medicine cabinet?
Yeah, really.
Jeez.
That's like asking
Artemis?
how that's. Yeah.
Or is that like a portal to another dimension in there?
A la House. Right? A la House.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, good call. It was like House.
Yeah.
Books of Blood.
Lighthouse.
Books of Blood. That's right.
They had the creatures in the walls.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man. All right. So then we the second segment that we're introduced to as they kind of banter back and forth a little bit and tell the woes and tales. The second sequence we have a bunch of frat boys that we're introduced to. that are handing out condoms and promoting safe sex with the idea that if you're giving them condoms, it makes them want to go to the parties because they feel safer. That you're concerned for their well-being. Apparently,
Gentlemen, you're being a gentleman.
You're being a gentleman. So here, have a condom. I'm a gentleman. Go have sex at a party.
Yeah,
like a gentleman.
Like a gentleman.
It doesn't mean anything sexual is going to happen.
Of course you're gonna put that out there, Aaron.
Oh, thank you, Aaron. I was hoping Adam would have did it, but I'm glad it was done anyway.
I left it in his ballpark.
Yeah,
as long as I could.
You left it in my ballpark, and I missed the rebound. I missed the rebound on that one. Oh man. Okay. So
all under the guise of safety.
All under the guise of safety.
Yes.
Yep. So with that, we get introduced to another young lady character who he kind of comes to the rescue of because one of his overzealous frat brothers is really kind of dicking around, and I don't know. He's just an odd character, right?
Oh, he's just not as swarthy and as charming as the other guys, so he's doing the same thing. It's like when you see Bubbles trying to do what Ricky does. He's like, "Oh, you know Jim, or Jim knows you," and he's getting pulled out of the car and handcuffed.
Yeah, I almost likened him to Brick Tamblyn from Anchorman. You want to go to the pants party? That's almost where it went in this movie. So as luck would have it, they meet up a little bit later at the actual party. She shows up and they hook up. And
do they ever?
He throws away the condom when she's not looking. I don't know how a whole night of sex she doesn't realize that he's no longer wearing the condom, but it goes from I think the clock skips from 11 p.m. to fucking 3 p.m. going every half an hour on the half hour. It's just different scenarios going on out of focus in the background.
Scenarios. I believe most people call them positions.
They went through almost the entire Kama Sutra as it was. And
Adam's got a D&D book out. He's like, "Can we do a random scenario here? Or just open up the page."
Magic missile.
Come on, Aaron. You gotta have a weird sexual name. You come up with them all the time. Come on.
Sexual. What? No, I don't.
I've got a +1 wand.
It'll come to me. I'll just blurt it out.
Okay, that'll make it funnier too.
Random.
Completely out of context. Yeah, please do.
He'll interrupt me later. I got it. Something random thrown out there. So he wakes up the next day. She's already gone. She wrote her number on the wall. Or on the mirror. He kind of smears it because he doesn't ever really give a shit to call her back. And then the stomach pains happen, and we come to realize pretty quickly this guy caught something from her. What he caught, I don't know.
The worst STD of them all.
Oh my
Worst
god.
STD of them all.
It's from all the peeny pile driving, boys.
All the peeny pile driving.
And
it doesn't take long too. So there's definitely, it isn't just he can get pregnant from her, as it turns out that he is pregnant. It's this thing takes a day to come to fruition within him. And he starts to really get, his stomach really grows. And there's that one moment where his brothers are in the frat. They're like, "You reached the magical number," and they're hoisting him up to put up his pennant on the wall. And he fucking, I don't know. It's he almost loses his water. But it's not.
He shit all over them.
He's shit and everything. It's the scenario's my water broke, but he's shitting and
it was awesome.
It's disgusting. And they're all sitting there
It
just
was
traumatized.
It was a jizz jamboree.
Oh.
Jamboree.
So as it turns out, he gets in contact with her. He ends up going to her house, and her parents are kind of like, "Oh, not this shit again." It's how often does this happen? And they deliver a baby in one of the most traumatizing scenes that a lot of men will ever see in their life.
Oh, it was so bad.
Oh. So how does it come out? Well, the same way it went in, honey. Penis exploding. It was bad.
You're the old wiener hole.
The effects work when it showed him kind of sitting there, and you could just barely see this huge opening in him was like disgustingly great.
Yeah.
Like it was disgusting because it wasn't just penis explode. It was like he fucking ruptured right out the groin and everything. Like it was nasty looking.
Oh.
Look at Josh. Even Josh is squinting harder than normal. That's bad.
Yeah, he is, dude. Oh.
Yeah,
Gross.
and the kind of nice little twist ending to that one is that we see up in the like an attic
Nursery.
It's like a nursery in the attic, and it's these weird monster-looking hands reaching up and shit. So it's like, okay.
So what do you reckon, that they're like demons or witches or
Shapeshifters, creatures of some kind.
I didn't think of that. I thought they were maybe witches or something.
Some sort of a demon, shapeshifter, creature, monster thing.
Yeah.
'Cause obviously, they've got a sexual hunger to them too, because she's out just banging dudes and
Come on.
getting that
He could have said it and he didn't.
sexual hunger.
That's on a t-shirt.
That's
Sexual.
not a t-shirt. Sexual healing. Okay. Segment 3. So let's talk about segment 3 here. So segment 3 kind of breaks it up a little bit here, because segment 1 you have kind of like a moralistic story. I mean, they all kind of have a little bit of a weird moralistic nature to them.
That's the
It's
point.
interesting.
Yeah, they all have a moral of the story.
Yeah. So the first one, you got like the tentacle creatures, so it's like a mythological creature being. The second one, there's something having to do with maybe demons or some other folklore creature going on here. The third one takes it up a notch a little bit, in my opinion. It's a sad story. Guy gets married to the woman of his life, the woman that he adores and loves. Beautiful woman, beautiful wedding, and then she falls into this weird comatose state, medical comatose state, and she's basically a vegetable for all intents and purposes. And he's basically spending all of his days now working and taking care of her. Yeah, and he's got it hard, and the doctor basically shows up at his house one day and says, if you give her a couple of extra of these pills, nobody would ever know that that's what did it. And he kind of takes the hint and goes to feed her the pills, and to end both of their suffering, as it would be. And she starts to come out of it almost like instantly. Yeah. It's almost like that extra boost of energy. And then she starts to die from the pills. They start to take effect. And what the fuck was that? A squirrel?
A hare. An Arctic hare.
An Arctic hare. That's right. It was a rabbit. Yeah. He got her that little thing, and she like fucking flops on it. So it's not like she was going to survive that one anyways, guys. Couldn't get her stomach pumped real quick if they needed to. Fucking Arctic hare in her forehead.
Yeah, like, come on, clean your decorations up, for crying out loud. That's dangerous.
So instead of just reporting the situation like, oh shit, she fell on it or she died, he decides to cut up her body and put it in a fucking trunk, and he's going to go bury it or dunk it in the water or something. And on his way out through the elevator breaks down. The one elevator he never wants to use in this fucking apartment complex because it always gives him problems. I like how they foreshadowed that, by the way. Like there was a callback to that. And she comes back to life in a very ghostly figure. And this was, in my opinion, even though a lot of people complained saying that it was a little too cartoony looking, I fucking loved the look of this ghostly creature. It was very much so like a Del Toro looking creature. Like it looks like something out of Crimson Peak or the fucking Devil's Backbone.
I thought it was creepy.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm telling you guys, like, when I saw that creature for the first time, I thought, why hasn't anybody done something like this before? And if the producers are listening, if anybody listens to this, take that one scene and use more of that kind of creature. Don't say no to something like that. That looked phenomenal. When that started to show up and it had the big gnarly eye and it was all stretched out and everything, that creeped me out. Yeah, that was creepy.
And it had like the time standing still effect where like her hair was kind of floating and it was almost like the blood was like lifting.
It was like she was
in
underwater.
The air. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Well, and that just reminds me, Aaron, you say like that kind of a look. Like I said, Crimson Peak by Guillermo del Toro.
Yep.
That's like the look and feel of the ghost creatures in that movie. So I instantly love the look and feel of this because it was just pure Del Toro.
I was pleasantly shocked when this thing showed up. I was like, wow, I really dig that creature. Really dig.
And you can see his heart breaking. He feels it. He's emotional to this. It's the love of his life, and then it ends with him sitting there with the trunk, and they finally open up the doors and shit, and something's going on there, right? So it was.
Well, again, this was one of those stories that reminded me of Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I agree. It was short enough where you didn't know what was going to happen at the end of it, and yeah.
Well, and just she starts coming out of it, and he's about like to poison her, and then she dies in the thing that he bought her, and then him trying to get away, and like in the elevator, the woman's talking to him, and yeah.
I even like how at the end she looks like the mortuary guy, and she's like, well, that story didn't have a moral. That's what anyone would do.
Yeah.
Interesting enough.
Yeah.
Then next on to the last one, we have another little kind of extended area where Sam's talking about the fact that the morals of the stories, and they're kind of talking and complaining about stuff, and then we actually get into the last of the main segments, which is the babysitter murders, which is, they call it the babysitter murders because of what's on the TV, which I thought was a great throwback to slasher films, this fake ass movie that's playing on the TV the whole time, which is very much so like akin to like a Halloween type of movie.
Well, not to rush trivia time with Tim, but this whole last segment was actually a short film that came out in 2015.
Was it really?
Oh.
Yeah, it's either a remake of that, or it's literally they just took that and put it in the movie. But it's like the same girl and everything.
Well, if they did that,
director, writer.
If they did that, then that's interesting. Then they would have built Mortuary Collection around it, because it's the same girl that's in Mortuary Collection too. Okay, cool. We'll wait to hear more from Trivia Time with Tim. So in this segment here, we have the girl Sam appears. Yes, let's go. Don't want to ruin the trivia time. So we have Sam, the girl that we've actually been seeing throughout this time period here. And it's her story as to why she's there, because she finally admits that the kid that's in the casket, she feels responsible for his death, and she came to kind of see him one last time and shit like this, and she tells the story of what actually happened. And it all has to do with a home invasion during a babysitting scenario, but the twist is, she's actually the home invader. The babysitter was an older guy that you thought was the home invader the entire time, until the very end, when you come to find out that the doctor, who appeared in all the other fucking segments, breaks into his own house and finds the babysitter, the other guy, dead, and he goes, oh my gosh, it's the babysitter. Come to find out that she's the cannibal murderer that's all over the news throughout the segment, and she basically murdered the child and was like cutting him up and eating him.
Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, the Tooth Fairy. I love it. This was an absolute great fucking twist of a story to it, and it actually did. I did not catch on at first. It took me by surprise, the twist.
Hey guys, I'm Felissa Rose, Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to They Cast from the Coast. Yeah!
Aaron, get your effects notes, get your notes.
I do.
All right, go.
I do. There were quite a few makeup people, hair people on this. It's probably, when I looked it up, I think there was about 20. But there were a couple key people on here for special effects. One was Bruce Spalding, and the other one was Mo Meinhardt. And Bruce is responsible for. Yeah, Bruce is responsible for some movies like Shape of Water, Captain Marvel, The Cave, Avengers, and the movie Us, where Mo Meinhardt She's done things like Tales of Halloween, Ascension, Alaska, Walking Dead. She did that for a couple of years, and American Horror Story. She worked on that as well. So
Nice.
we got some pretty prolific makeup artists going on this film, and you can absolutely tell. Everything was it was shot a lot darker. With the film and the different lighting effects and things, it was really dark, so you can get away with some really cool looking effects that actually sell a lot better, right? You get the shine of the blood in the dark, and you can really get a feel for the different effects that are going on. But as per my notes, like you mentioned earlier, Adam, I really like the credits. I like the way that they designed them and stuff at the beginning. It did feel a little goosebumpy. I'll give Josh that. But I did like the way that their font was and everything with that. Nice cinematography with the kid rolling through town. That kind of piqued me. When I see the first couple things come up on a film, I'm like, okay, this is going to be all right. This is going to be good, I think. Another thing is a decent soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was decent as well, and it was from it's just a little movie sound company. I think they've only done 3 or 4 soundtracks for different movies, but they were awesome. Like it's good music, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was.
Excellent old age makeup on Clancy Brown. At a couple points, I could see where the bald cap was attached to his head.
Oh,
But-
stop! You did not.
Yeah, I did. It's the way that they lit it.
Now you're just making fun of his naturally receding hairline. You mean man. He was just wrinkled.
Yeah, it was really good makeup though, really good. I would say that would be a 2.5 to 3 hour makeup to get him to
Should
look
have been
like
a 4-hour, I guess.
that. Right. It would probably be 2.5, 3 hour. I'm saying for sure. It would probably take quite a while to take off as well. I thought the transitions were really cool. The bathroom lights, I noticed in the first scene where Cthulhu comes out of the makeup cabinet. I noticed that for being at a prestige location, this light was up and over a little bit further than the other one. So I was just paying attention to major detail, and I was like, what the heck's going on there? I'm not hiring that carpenter ever. Blood drips in the sink. I already mentioned that. That looked perfect. They used the right kind of blood to make it drip and crown the way it was supposed to, and things like that. It actually looked like real blood. Well, if she was looking for medication, she definitely found some. I got that note there. More of like a chiropractor, right? Kind of working the back a little bit to make it so she's a little more flexible, I guess. Great effects on the cabinet monster. I've got CGI. That's a lot of CGI right there. Great effects on the Prego stomach. Thought the veining on the stomach and everything was really cool. And if you look at the as he progresses with his pregnancy, you can see the belly like kicking and moving and
Yeah.
Gross.
Tim,
That's
you're
gross.
making me lose it.
He's getting uncomfortable.
Freaking weak out here.
It's fucking
So unprofessional.
Never mind.
It'd
He's
be
getting
pretty-
uncomfortable.
It'd be pretty easy to kind of hide the pregnancy a little bit along the top when he pulled his shirt up, because the shirt would rest on the seam was where this thing would rest on his stomach, right? But it looked really good. Gross spooge scene. Orbital prosthetics on the guy's face. It's a nice. It's on par. So when he's laying on that table and he's ready to burst, right? You can see just the slight orbital prosthetics that he's got. And if they're not prosthetics, which I mean, I was watching on this screen here, then it's really well done in color, because it makes it look like the orbital bone's sinking, and he's got this really cool effect. Really cool. You could have done those in like a just a hot foam or a silicone prosthetic. You could have even gotten away with a 3D transfer on it as well from Prozate. They were thin enough and stuff like that. So, disgusting birth scene. The awesome. That's so not awesome. The gross birth scene. The pecker wrecker is what I called it.
The pecker wrecker. Yes.
Because that was.
Wow.
Yeah, you want to see what a slug looks like after you blow it up with
wiener
a
wrecker.
firecracker. Yeah. Dark and dimly lit scenes offer more to the imagination with makeup and etc. I really got that feeling out of it. Looked really good. Carol's makeup is good. Impaled by the Arctic hare, that's a first, and I loved it. And then when they, took it out and they spent all that time looking at it, you could see the pulsing of the blood coming out of the wound and everything. Just
That's when
absolutely
I knew it was
cool.
real. When
Yeah.
this film really got real for me. Because the effects work up until then was kind of like CG.
Yeah.
A little lackluster, but that was some serious gore.
That looked really good. That looked absolutely fantastic. Let's see here. Good gore prosthetics on the hair when it was removed. Nice leakage of the blood. One hell of a creepy ass makeup on Carol in the elevator.
Yeah.
We're jumping to that, and the arms look fantastic as well. It looks like they used something like a 3rd degree silicone on the arms to give it that, like the flesh was kind of like a slip skin kind of thing. You grab somebody's flesh if they've been dead for a while and it just slips right off. But that whole creature, that really made the hair stand up on the back of my neck, kind of like this first scene in The Ring when they find that thing in the closet, right? And she just goes, right? It kind of creeped me out.
Nice.
I thought when the babysitter murders came up on the screen, I thought, why are they announcing this little segment as the babysitter murders? This is weird. And then I got that she was watching a TV show that had that come up on. So I thought the killer's mask in that was really creepy and good too. I thought it was really cool.
Like, I want like a full movie.
I do too, and I thought that
guy.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
I thought that exact
That's
same thing.
really
I thought that'd be really good. At the very end, when you see the eyes and stuff, I wish his eyes were kind of dark, darkened a bit behind the mask. But other than that, I thought it was absolutely cool. The hand in the grinder. Oh man, I was cringing on that. And again, it goes back to sound effects and stuff, like what we were talking about earlier, Sam and you guys. Like, man, the ear that was bit off was a little off color, I found, but it was still effective. They showed it so quickly that you'd never be able to, really kind of pair it up, I guess. Love the tie-in with the film on the TV. So when the things were going on the TV, she was doing the exact same things live in front of us in the movie. So I thought that was a kind of a neat little thing that they put together. Crazy beatdown in the bedroom. They were getting damaged and cut up and blood everywhere, and awesome camera angle when the TV crushes the buddy's head. I've got written down here, bloody disgusting. And I love it.
Time, bitch.
Nice twist, Tooth Fairy. Love that. And then the Ember creatures are cool. Thought they were kind of a nice little, when they're showing the porcelain teeth that she collected and stuff, I could actually tell that those were ordered in porcelain teeth, the same ones that I order in. And they were sitting there and they had just a flat side on them that you can embed in some acrylic, right? Absolutely. It was funny, right? To anybody else, they would just see it as a tooth, right? But that was kind of cool. And then the bald cap line, I saw it most at the very end scene when he stepped outside. It had some weird lighting up the top, and it showed this line right across the forehead.
I don't believe you.
It's serious. Nice silicone effects and end of film. So when she was being sewn back up and all the kind of the puzzle pieces on her face, that
like, what do you
was
zoom in on the pixel level and you're like, oh, that's not accurate. Something here is not right. This looks suspicious.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my notes. I thought it was good. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it.
Definitely an enjoyable flick. Tim, are you ready to rock trivia time with Tim?
That was. I like that. That was really intense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The mortuary is actually the Flavel House Museum in Astoria, Oregon.
Astoria? Cool. Same as the Goonies.
And that was my next piece of trivia. It's actually filmed in Astoria, Oregon, the same location where the Goonies 1985 is and was filmed.
It's good enough for me.
Wicked.
Good enough. All right, fine.
Clancy Brown's makeup took 2.5 hours to apply and 1 more hour to remove.
I can see it.
The doctor's office in the second segment was filmed in the kitchen of the house from the babysitter segment.
Okay, that's cool.
Most of the books. Yeah. Most of the books in the film were left over from the series The Librarians from 2014 to 2018. Clancy Brown kept his fake teeth he wore in this film.
Cool.
It's walking around the house right now with them in.
Caitlin Fisher, Sam, was 7 months pregnant while filming some of the scenes.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm. The basement of the mortuary is actually filmed on a set in the dining room.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Okay.
Caitlin Fisher kept the wristband she wore in the film. And the pennants hanging in the fraternity house bear the surnames of several members of the cast and crew. And like the one that I mentioned earlier, The Babysitter Murders from 2015 is a 22-minute short done also by Ryan Spindle, who's the writer-director of this one. And it has pretty much everybody the same. I'm assuming, yeah, it was a short film.
Didn't have to look that up now.
Yeah.
Well, we
Excellent.
saw it.
Yeah, you saw it
Need
already.
to look it up.
Well, you know.
I'm going to
Okay.
look it up anyway.
I'm gonna
Watch
do
the
it.
movie again, I guess.
Did anybody find like what the budget was on this film? Because I couldn't find that.
I can
15.
I know what the worldwide gross was right up to right now, and I don't know when exactly it was released. But I mean, $84,000 for worldwide gross right now is not that great.
Well, I don't think that it did anything except for go to Shudder.
Right.
So it probably wouldn't have had much of a gross, if anything.
Right.
Yeah, those contracts usually they just get like a check in the mail every month. I think
Yeah, they get
every
a pit.
month that
They
you're
get
on Shudder, you get 1% of your views or something crazy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing on here that says the budget.
The budget. Yeah.
yeah.
15.
Is it 15?
Okay.
15 million.
So 15 million.
Yeah,
It
I'm done.
It was produced by Shudder.
That's trivia time with me.
Trivia time with Tim. Wow. Okay, cool. All right, gentlemen, now is time to give our final thoughts and wrap this up a bit. So I'm going to start with Josh.
Started this film, I really didn't like it. Not gonna lie, it seemed too kiddie. I didn't like the fucking bogus Angus Scrim, and then it got into the first story, and it was some lady getting sucked into a wormhole with a Cthulhu thing. Didn't really make much sense. But as it progressed, the story got better. The tales got better. The effects got better. The characters got... By the end of it, I loved Bogus Scrim. He was excellent.
Bogus Scrim.
Bogus tall man.
Yeah, I really liked the way the old twist got me, and the reach around segment was all very good. I'd like to see more of this character, but he kind of dies at the end of it, so that's kind of lame.
Could be a prequel.
They could bring him back. You've done poor. They've sent me back to continue.
I think he was a mortal soul at one point, and he did something to get into that role, just like the one before him.
And the one after.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this film. All in all, I'll give it an R. I'd recommend it. Go watch it.
Nice.
But
Recommend it.
you got to get past the first 20 minutes or so, I think. That really threw me off. The music I didn't like in the opening. It just felt so off to the rest of the film, I think. But you guys liked it, so who knows?
Absolutely. All right. I'll go next, gentlemen. So, I thought this movie was actually a breath of fresh air. For all the points that we as horror fans love a good anthology film. And I mean, what do we love about anthology films? We love the fact that it's not one story, it's multiple stories, sometimes combined or overlapping, etc. But it once again harkens to the Tales from the Crypts, the reading of the EC magazines, and everything that we love about this horror universe that we hold dear so much. The fact that we could get a well done, well scripted, well acted, great special effects anthology today, fantastic. Thumbs up all the way, because every year or two there seems to be a handful of anthology films that get released and the horror community goes, this is it, this is going to be great, and it's just
With that much enthusiasm?
Yeah,
They're all at them. They hear it and they get full mast and they're so excited.
no,
They
but
watch
like
it and they're like, oh.
I love a good anthology film. I mean, I'm just going to throw one out there. There was another one on Shudder that was released earlier in the year called Scare Package. Like the art for it, the trailer for it, and just the idea behind a lot of it, I was like, sold. I can't wait for this movie. I watch it, I fucking laughed at the stupidity throughout the whole movie. Like, it wasn't even worth the time and effort. I'll never watch it again. This movie, I've watched it twice now, and I liked it just as much the second time as I did the first time. I never felt any different about it. In fact, I was picking up on more things, and I enjoyed the effects work a little bit more the second time around, kind of getting a clearer view of it after knowing what to look for. The twist and the kind of the heartbreak that happens in the movie, the twist that happens in it, I enjoyed it just the same, and it still strikes me, right? This movie is the breath of fresh air that we need when it comes, like I said, to anthology films today. I give it an R. Flat out. Tim. He was waiting that entire
Like
fucking
a
time.
film
to do
noir.
that.
Yes.
I saw an anthology once.
That was like a Rodriguez intro right there.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with what was said so far. I thought when Adam first told me to watch this, like back in October, I was like, "Here we go with his adult
Here we go
goosebumps
again."
again." Yeah. But I gave it a chance because I really, really like Clancy Brown. It started off; it was nothing special. Like, okay, cool, it's going to be an anthology. But like Josh said, like once it started going and building steam, like, oh shit! And then it ends with the babysitter murders, and I'm like, you're doing references to fucking Michael Myers now and shit. Like, I thought the cinematography was great. It was a very well produced movie. I thought as limited as I felt a lot of the special effects were, because I don't remember a lot of special effects. They were really good for what I remember. Like, especially like, the poor guy's fucking wife that went face first into the Arctic hair. All that, and I wasn't even expecting that. I thought that was all well done. I thought the music was great. I thought the two main actors, Clancy Brown and Caitlin Cluster, were really good. The twist was pretty good. It absolutely had an old school vibe to it. It invoked primarily Tales from the Crypt and like Adam said, the EC comics, but it also had a lot of like. I felt like the spirit of like Vincent Price and Peter Cushing from all the Hammer films and stuff like that. Like Clancy Brown could have been a Hammer actor. You know what I mean? Like I could absolutely see him being in one of those. I started off not liking it, and then I ended up really liking it, and I too am also going to give it an R.
Yeah.
That's the same journey I took, Timothy.
Good. I'm glad. Glad we think the same.
Has that same journey.
That's why we watch the same shit. Aaron.
Well, I want to start this out by saying that I think I'm developing a horror list that I'm expecting in certain movies, kind of like what Josh has, but in my own different way of things, because every time I'm reviewing something, I'm like, okay, it's got this, it's starting out really well. I like the cinematography, I like the music, I'm digging it, and it usually for me, and I'm finding for me, the opening sequences and things will tell me what the rest of the film's going to be like for quality, right? And I can tell, like, within the first 5 minutes that it's going to be all right. It's going to be good, right? Not 100% of the time, but I think this one definitely did that for me. I really thought the effects were on par throughout the whole thing. And that obviously is one of my big things, so that I keep going to. And that, of course, is one of my big votes. If the effects are good, then you have to accompany it with a good story and have decent music and decent actors and things. And I didn't know, Clancy Brown. I really love the guy. He's been in so many movies, cameoing here and there, and I was happy to see that he had like this role in this film where he's like front and center, and he's pulling off this beautiful character. In this mortuary, he's actually super creepy. At one point, I was hoping to see the little gnarly hand come out and stuff some turkey, right?
Here, no, take my good hand.
No.
He was kind of dressed for that kind of a role too, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna like. I was, am I gonna see this or what? Like, but yeah, I really liked how it was shot, like really dimly lit, or if that was done in post. I really like how they do that stuff. It just seems to me.
You know why they do that?
It's
so motherfuckers like you don't point out where the mask line is, and
Yeah,
where
well,
the hairline for the cap is.
The bald cap starts there.
Yeah, probably. I can't shit on anybody in this film. This is like all around. These guys did fantastic. Like I give them an A++ for the makeup and putting that stuff on and things like that. So, but boys, I'm giving this one an R as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
4 R's. Not uncommon with us, but when we find something that we really like, I mean, we all come together, share the same sentiments, and away we go. So. Yay.
That's your catchphrase. I like that.
I don't like that. No, I don't like that.
Thing.
He said the thing.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Well, gentlemen, great night of reviewing this movie. I think that this is a movie that a lot of people need to take the time and see. And it is on Shudder. Shudder's not an expensive thing to get out and purchase. It's like $6 a month. Buy it for a month, watch a ton of movies, wait a couple of months, get it for another month. $6 to rent a whole shit ton of movies that come on to Shudder. It's pretty damn good. So, hey.
Or you could support it all year round.
That too, like I do.
Fuck that. They don't sponsor us.
Hey, Shudder.
Shudder might want to sponsor us.
Yeah, really start sponsoring us, sir.
Come on,
I'm just going to download everything illegally.
Josh, you're not supposed to
say shit like that.
Josh said that.
Oh,
I did not say that.
Oh, man. All right, guys.
Everything I said is a joke and should be taken as just
satire. This is satire.
Satire.
Oh, man.
I would never download anything illegally.
Good review tonight, everybody.
Without a VPN.
That's it.
This is when Josh goes into his NordVPN. He's sponsored.
They don't fucking sponsor us. Fuck you.
Hey, NordVPN, if you're out there.
No, we don't want to get in bed with that shit. Bullshit. Fuck it off. No.
Fine.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for this great discussion that we've had, and we really hope you enjoyed it. So please check out the rest of our content on Facebook, Misunderstood Our Company. Like, share, and subscribe. We're also on YouTube, Misunderstood Our Company. Like, share, and subscribe. We are producing every week new content for everybody to see on the video platforms as well as on the podcasting platforms, all the major podcasting platforms, including, but not limited to, Google Play, iTunes.
That's right.
Spotify, Amazon Music, it's all on there.
Yep.
Not limited to those, though.
It's not limited to those, but check them out. And we're also on Patreon. Open up your hearts and your wallets. Buy Tim a coffee because, he needs coffee to get through the day. And until next time, Josh.
You don't understand. I used to be fat.
Aaron.
Wear protection. Last thing you want is a wrecked pecker.
The Pecker Wrecker. Tim.
Gross.
Stay safe. Stay spooky. Viva la Tim.
Viva la Tim. See you next time, folks.
Good night.
Bye.